was on. So me take the road on. 2008, make the link with the world boss. Start travel the world first class. Bad mind can't believe how we shell down the world fast. I look on the rims when the whip pass. Puff my spliff in the dream car. Music make the dream last. Stay true to my thugs, me no want see no new one. Never sell out, ask use a Lambos. Real thugs never forget the dumb plan or where me come from, yeah. Real thugs never worry about pagan, cause we destiny don't plan. Some say we now live long. The other say a judgment road to live by. Next set say me sell my soul to Satan. God bless me for shame, bad mind with it song. Yo, Andrew Blocks. Yo, J-Skull. True story, though. I know the thing go from St. Thomas to Portmore, St. Catherine, Spanish Town. Sure. No new friend, no new face.
Help me build a go-to-market deck for a new product line covering materials, financial projections, and marketing.
If you give a little more than you take, and if you try to fix more than you break, if you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak, if you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you wanna see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, there's a place up there for people like you. People like you get there, there's a hand to hold. I believe when your days down here are through, yeah, there's a place up there for people like you. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do. 'Cause there's a place up there for people like you. Out of many one people we are.
I. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, oh. I make her push it inside, oh. Hey, what a girl can ride, oh. Hey, what a girl can ride. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, oh. I make me push it inside, oh. Want no wicked ride, oh. Want no wicked ride, oh. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, oh. I make me push it inside, oh. Want no wicked ride, oh. Want no wicked ride, oh. Money nothing on me, girl, me a provider. Buy your the land, buy the designer. Your waist just a tick like a timer. Brace pan the stick, watch your style, yeah. I regular me tell you say you go online, yo. I want you then you bring it come me phone line, yo. Girl, you blessed with the good, I know. When you cock it up high, then you wind low. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, yo. I make me push it inside, yo. What a girl can ride, yo. What a girl can ride, yo. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, yo. I make me push it inside, yo. What a girl can ride, yo. What a girl can ride, yo. She spread it out and she tick and she talk. You want the grip, girl, me call you back. Shift your jaws and sit for my car. Yeah, me go hard till your ball fi stop. Girl, you wet up the place, beg you pass the map. Take your space, no, no girl can't do that. When you catch on, you rock on the top and a drop. Good all, long time you hot and no flap. Alright, I saw she slip, I saw she slide on. I make me push it inside, yo. What a girl can ride, oh. What a girl can ride, oh. I saw she slip, I saw she slide on. I make me push it inside, yo. What a girl can ride, oh. What a girl can ride, oh. I saw she slip, I saw she slide on. I make me push it inside, yo. What a girl can ride, oh. What a girl can ride, oh.
We can go out onto the street and we can do a straw poll and say, excuse me, are you more scared of the police or of the gangs? And I think that people would still say that they would prefer the protection of the police as opposed to they're being scared of the police.
With no body cameras, the moments that matter most often exist only in memory. The truth is left to investigators to decide what happened after the fact.
I saw 5 commissioners of police in the time I was here. Each one has a different way of dealing with the issues which they're confronted with. But I don't think it's a secret that in any country in the world, government ministers dictate or quietly guide how things be done, because at a moment's notice, the level of shootings could stop overnight.
How do you prove an unlawful killing when the only person who could challenge the official account is dead? This is a story about the power to use deadly force, the search for accountability, and a country wrestling with one of its most difficult questions. Do some people meet their maker before they ever meet the judge? Because dead men tell no tales.
If this doesn't work for you, we promise a 10-fold refund immediately. Yes, you heard that right. A 90-day risk-free guarantee, or you get 10 times your money back. We are that confident. This cosmetic denture
Can't believe my brother passed on. The biggest mistake that take an innocent youth life. He must have quiet youth, genuine youth, helpful in the community. People love him. So he go in local party, he love dance and things. He have local dancing friend them and things. Laugh and run joke and things. Gimmicks and things.
The 18th of July, Friday morning, police murder my son cold-blooded for nothing at all.
Shane Samuels was autistic and lived with learning difficulties. One day when an unmarked police car appeared in his area, he panicked and ran. According to eyewitnesses, Shane was frightened, but police say it was because he was armed. Seconds later, he had been shot dead. But to this day, Shane's family reject that account. They believe he was unlawfully killed.
They shot him in his back way. He run and collapse. I get to understand, and they go down and have him done more than a half hour bleeding out before they take him to the Kingston Public Hospital.
When they shot him, they put him in a vehicle, make him bleed out in a vehicle. And then them drive off, go right down a 10 mile, park up at a bar, go in a bar, go order rum.
Everybody knows that no shootout. It's one shot fire, and it's from the police shot my son in his back.
Shane Samuels is not a gunman.
Most of the police then do them think they plan gun palm people because that they don't use if they get to tell a lie, full of lie, and God knows he's lying.
As a brother from youth days, I teach you and think I would say is a youth who have unsold man, so my mother keep him close, draw him up close to her and think there. Because right now, every day she a ball. Every day she a ball.
The pain in the soul me I feel over my Father God know what I'm going through right now. Right, and just immerse him in a bus and me pick everything. Most night me can't sleep. Each time me can't sleep, me cry night and you, my child.
By the time Shane was killed, the country was already in the grip of its deadliest year on record for police killings. He was the 178th person to be fatally shot that year by the security forces.
My name is Hamish Campbell, and I was the Assistant Commissioner with the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, and I was there from July 2013 through to December 2025. The fatality figures by the police in 2025 reached 311. And that was the highest. It's been the highest for that's 2 decades. When I came in July 2013, annual fatal shootings by the police were over 200 a year and had been for a decade. And then from 2014, they did go down to reach a low in 2019 of only 86. But unfortunately, since 2020, the last 5 years, they have increased slowly and steadily upwards. 2024 saw the significant rise and then reaching to over 300 last year.
For decades, Jamaica has lived with one of the highest murder rates in the world.
These 18 firearms include 10 pistols, 5 revolvers, 2 shotguns, 1 Intratec submachine gun, 1,279 rounds of assorted ammunition, and 11 magazines.
But as murders now decline, another number has risen. Never before has there been so many citizens shot dead by police.
So when I came in July 2013 to the 311 right through 25, over 2,000, just under 2,000 citizens were killed by the police in my time while I was the Assistant Commissioner. The INDECOM, the Independent Commission of Investigations, has only been in existence for 16 years. The Jamaican Constabulary Force has been in existence for 150 years. And so 16 years ago, there was no oversight of them. The police dominated the landscape. They were entitled to do what they do. They said how things would be, and they would investigate themselves.
Jamaica doesn't make or manufacture firearms.
Okay, go ahead and hold the gun. I'm gonna go ahead and rack it.
Yet the country is filled with so many illegal guns. To understand why, I've come to a shooting range in Texas, because weapons like these are somehow finding their way into the hands of gangs and dangerous criminals thousands of miles away. And the question is, how?
Because of the history of Jamaica and its closeness in proximity to South America, to North America, particularly to the United States, there has been a thriving trade for years and years and years of smuggling illegal firearms into Jamaica. So the first problem is that we do have a massive problem with firearms. On top of that, we have something like 40,000 licensed firearm holders as well. So that in itself is a major issue. When you have that amount of illegal firearms in any country, therefore the risk of confrontation with the police is increased significantly.
Sir, stop! Sir, stop! Get back! Sir, stop! Stop!
Two-hand grab. Somebody grabs him with 2 hands.
Jamaica has spent years trying to make policing safer. But over the years, officers have long been accused of abusing their power and breaking the very laws they were sworn to uphold, with successive governments often rejecting claims of widespread wrongdoing.
We are continuing to ensure that we have a professional, well-trained police force respectful of the law. And that's all I can do. Now I'm here for another function.
We've had so many fatal shootings that I don't know how these persons who have been taking the lives of these citizens sleep at night. But I fear, my greatest fear is that Jamaica could break out into a civil war very soon. And when that happens, sadly, lives are going to be lost. Lives are going to be lost.
2003, and a group of police officers enter this nightclub. When this man refused to comply, witnesses say he was pistol whipped. Within seconds, a gun battle breaks out as police and armed men exchange shots. This woman was shot in the face.
Where I was standing, I see him when he start fire from the up on the roof, him come down with him and like this. On the gun I pointed right in my face. And then I just drop.
There are countless instances where you, the person who was looking for the police to be your protector, the police became the predator and you were hunted down and murdered. It is a very realistic situation here in Jamaica with this.
The unfortunate truth is that we have been having high levels of murder over past many years, and that has been across political administration. While doing our administration, we have had significant reduction. The fact that it had nonetheless remained unacceptably high. The government, since 2016, having faced with that problem and been the overwhelming problem facing most of Jamaicans, have tried many different approaches which have failed.
Thousands of people have been killed by the security forces over the years. Some were armed, others were not. Among them was Kamosa Clark, a man living with mental illness who died after being beaten inside a police station. Then there are those who survived who were left to tell a story that few will believe. This man was savagely attacked by officers whilst in custody.
This ain't no boring burger. This is Arby's cheesesteak.
They don't want you to know about it.
Hey, did you know you might get a big cash payout if you were in a car accident up to 1 year ago? Even if you weren't driving. Just click the link around this video to see how much you can get. Just answer 5 simple questions, and it only takes 30 seconds. If you got hurt by a driver in last year, you might be owed money without even knowing it. You could get a check just like this one, maybe even more. Click the link now to find out. Tens of thousands of people have received a 5-figure or even a 6-figure check without going to court, paying big legal fees, or dealing with insurance companies or greedy attorneys. Even if you were a pedestrian, rideshare user, cyclist, or a motorcyclist, you can get the justice you deserve. Look at Mia, for example.
This particular photograph that was taken at a crime scene in St James. Well, this is just another photograph of many that was captured when I'm out and about on the streets talking to colleagues. My name is Mark Shields, originally from the United Kingdom. I was Deputy Commissioner of Police with the Jamaica Constabulary Force for 5 years, and I left towards the end of 2009. Throughout the whole time that I've been here, there have been instances of corruption. Police officers have been convicted of murder when there have been fatal shootings. So corruption, fatal shootings, they're a real issue. And I think that policing in some of the communities that our police operate in, where there are gangs and there are a plethora of weapons, lots of weapons, then clearly community policing as it stands can be quite a difficult thing to do. But I do accept that in some really difficult communities, policing can be really tough. And to a degree, the criminals need to fear the police, but they need to fear their training.
For those Jamaicans who intend to come back with crime and violence to undermine what we have been building here, let me be clear to you that this is not the Jamaica that you left 10 or 20 years ago. It is not the JCF that you left 10 or 20 years ago. You will either meet a judge or your maker.
For many, that speech from Prime Minister Andrew Holness is what emboldened a more forceful and potentially deadly approach to policing.
To break that down for you, Judge, the legal route of getting you your fair day in court, meeting your maker, is taking your life so that you go and meet with God. That's what that means, taking your life. A prime minister cannot and should have never made that statement. However, there are multiple accounts, more than 4 times, that the Prime Minister of Jamaica has made that public utterance. That, if you ask me, is a directive. And the police force knows very well that the superiors, their superiors, have given them the directives to just take life at will.
If you are in collusion with persons who take other persons' life illegally, improperly, unjustifiably, then you have blood on your hands. And it's for that reason why the comments by the Prime Minister is so dangerous. And you know, one of the things that concerns me too is that our fear of criminals have overwhelmed many persons, that they are of the mindset that anything goes that can reduce crime. But what the evidence has shown across the world is that if crime reduction is not approached in an informed, calculated way, where this whole society is brought along on that mission, you will end up exchanging one bad situation for another.
Being a cop in Jamaica is perhaps one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. 9 officers were killed in the line of duty last year. For his own safety, we're protecting the identity of this serving constable, whose first-hand account from inside the force raises serious questions about the culture of policing from within.
From what I know, I wouldn't say the killings are always justified. Most of the time, persons are not harmed in that moment. But they're known to be violent because they've been on the police radar for some time. So, when they're caught, even if they don't have a weapon, they just get rid of the problem once and for all. But there is corruption everywhere. I know officers who are corrupt on a small scale, but it's mostly about collecting money. Officers get involved in corruption because of the pay.
There has been in the past, I can't talk about now, systematic killing of criminals. I actually know that happened because I was part of an organisation where I was getting direct evidence that that was going on, both before I arrived and when I was there. But we tried to kill that culture. But I do not believe that it's at the level it was 20 years ago. It was pretty appalling. But of course, there will still be people within the organisation who tend to be corrupt or corrupt.
The level of shootings could stop overnight. It was wanted to. At a moment's notice, body-worn cameras could be worn by officers on planned operations. It wouldn't take more than one direction. But we hear the language through the ministers, through the media, no body-worn cameras to be worn on planned operations. We don't want them. We're not going to have them. I've heard it myself directly. So that is how things can change if you really want to make a change. But as long as you withhold that final barrier to complete transparency, this is one of the outcomes that you will see.
The man responsible for Jamaica's security forces, Horace Chang, has made no secret of his dislike of body-worn cameras. He said he does not support officers wearing them during targeted operations.
The minister's support for the absence of body-worn cameras in special operations is unfortunate, it is deplorable, it is reckless, it does not help to foster trust in public institutions and more so trust in the JCF.
What's so different about the Jamaica Constabulary Force compared with NYPD, LAPD, Met Police in London, or wherever it happens to be? There cannot be a justification or a reasonable one unless it's given to us. And so far, I have not heard anything at all that I would say, well, fair enough, I understand now. I understand why 100, 200, 300 people have been killed, but there's no independent body-worn camera deployed by the police. I can understand people asking that question, and I have to say that I have some sympathy with that view.
May 17th, 2026. The officer in front of this minivan has stopped the driver, Buju, otherwise known as Latoya Bolgin, a 45-year-old mother of two. The officers had been deployed to monitor protests over the fatal shooting of Latoya's 17-year-old cousin just days earlier. But before the day was over, another member of the same family would be dead.
For a moment, it was unbelievable what I was seeing, where a woman sitting around a steering wheel in a vehicle, being shot by a member of my police force, who is sworn to protect, sworn to serve. And when I saw that, it drove home to me that Jamaica is under threat from within. Jamaica, the Jamaica that I want and most people want, is under threat from within the authorities of the state itself.
I genuinely believe that we are having a silent genocide in Jamaica. That's the only adjective I can find to describe what's happening, because nothing makes sense. Nothing. Something is definitely wrong right there. I think it's genocide.
There was no attempt at any form of first aid or medical assistance to her. There was a presumption that she was dead, and she was dragged from the vehicle, dragged down the street. And then thrown into the back of a police truck. And in my view, that's just unconscionable. It was horrifying.
For all the shootings in the last 12 years I've been here, which have occurred primarily in the poorer quarters of Kingston, Montego Bay, Spanish Town, the citizens have witnessed that for years. They're there when the people are killed and when their bodies are just dragged out by their feet or by their hands and swung into the back of trucks. I suppose for myself, and I've seen it so often, this casualness to it. But he would say, you know, it's gone to court, I'm not going to make... He will have a different version, because all police shootings in Jamaica and elsewhere, on duty with a firearm, will inevitably claim self-defense. They can't do anything else, because the state has armed the agents of the state with a firearm. And the state allows a unique body of people, the police, here and every other country, to use firearms in defense of themselves or another. So already that is the position of self-defense. And it is for the prosecution to say, well, that's your starting point, but this doesn't represent self-defense.
April 2025 has marked another historic milestone. For the second time this year, we have recorded the lowest number of murders in over 2 decades. Still, we are aware that even as we make gains, there are those who seek to sow seeds of discord and mistrust, who try to paint our officers as anything but the professionals they are. Let me be clear. We are a disciplined, modern law enforcement agency with a constitutional mandate to serve and protect all Jamaicans without fear, favor, or ill will.
Exactly how the force has achieved its recent decline in murders remain unclear. Questions also persist about the tactics being used against those suspected of being involved in violence.
The orders come from the higher-ups, including the superintendent and deputy superintendents. They fully support us. About a month ago, I overheard a conversation about officers who killed several men in a car. Not all of them who were killed were involved in any criminal activity. They were simply in the company of a person who was known to the police. Did they deserve to die? Of course not.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address in just seconds. Imagine pulling up your neighborhood, spotting your roof, your street, even the landmarks around you, all in real time from an aerial view. It's like having your own personal window to the world right on your screen. This tool is simple to use. Just type in an address and instantly explore detailed satellite imagery with incredible clarity and precision. Whether you're curious about your home, checking out a vacation spot, or just exploring places you've always wanted to visit, it's all right here. Discover the power of seeing your world from above. Don't just hear about it, experience it. Try this free satellite Earth Maps tool today and see your world like never before.
Have you seen the average auto insurance rate in Indiana? It's crazy. I don't know how anyone can afford to live there. Hoosiers are paying over $1,600 per year on average for full coverage auto insurance. That's over $140 a month. What blows my mind is drivers in Indiana could be getting full coverage for up to 80% less than they're paying now. And most people have no idea. If you're paying over $75 a month for car insurance, I'll show you how to save. It's not just car insurance. Gas is up, groceries are up, cost of living in Indiana.
This particular room was owned by Jamar Ferguson, a young man whose life was taken on September 14th or 15th, I think, of 2025.
When 22-year-old Jamar heard a knock at his family's front door, he rushed to see who was there.
They moved him to one side and they pushed him out the door, or they passed him by and they went and did the search. And then they called him back in. His name wasn't on the warrant, that's true, but the warrant was for those premises. So the search warrant was for that building. It doesn't have to have, search warrant doesn't have to have the name of the individual. They're searching the property, and the police had made the assumption that the person that they were looking for was in that property. In fact, if I remember rightly, he had been living there, but had left just a few days earlier. He'd left the premises.
Unbeknown to the officers, a hidden security camera was recording everything.
They brought him back all the way up the stairs. They marched him to his death, all the way here. All the way upstairs. They came. They did what they were supposed to do. They brought him here. And this is exactly where, as you can see, bullet holes right here, bullet holes, a bullet hole. This is exactly where Jamar Ferguson, we believe, took his last breath.
Jamar's family granted us access to their home, where his bedroom remains untouched. It is exactly as it was on the day he was killed. While serving at Indicum, Hamish was among the first investigators to examine the circumstances surrounding Jamar's death.
He's permitted them to search his room because I can't remember if the room was locked or shut, but he allowed them access. They didn't force entry to that room. And of course, we don't have any cameras there. And it's in that room that he's shot and killed. Now, this is why we come back to the same old problem. No body-worn cameras. Their account is that when they were all in the room, he then went for a gun under the bed or under some towels, and in that instant moment, he was then shot and killed.
24 police officers. How do you explain this? How do you explain it? This is it. In his own bedroom.
What they did afterwards, of course, as we saw on the camera, they then moved some of the camera, tilted some of the angles on the camera, so you couldn't see afterwards what took place. But again, it's more broader than that. I mean, tragic, they're awful, irreversible events. But what the case highlighted was the failure to wear body-worn cameras, a planned operation, the issue of, oh, the red light dot would be a problem. There's an example. Red light dots on cameras got nothing to do with it. It was broad daylight. They all went in. There were numerous officers. They went in without body-worn cameras. We saw them remove and dislodge the camera equipment.
Thank God that his family had their own cameras here. And when the police thought that they damaged the security footage, it was captured in the clouds and family members have it. That is why we, the citizens, have it today to look at. That this young man came downstairs, answered the door to 24 paid police officers who brought him back upstairs in this very room, right over there.
And the third feature, which is in the report I wrote, was if he had become in one way a sort of suspect and they were suspicious of him, why was he allowed free rein, under their story, in the bedroom? And in my last report, we documented examples of cases where the police go into premises, there is the wanted man they want, allegedly for murder or some other crime, and they do not handcuff him. Under their report, they allow him to sit on a chair or sit on the bed, and in their accounts, That man then gets a gun from under the bed or under the towels and they have to shoot him.
All right, you got to stop buying generic Viagra if y'all over 40. You can get 9 pills of 100 milligram generic Viagra for just $7 with free shipping from Friday Plan. If you think it's a scam like I did at first, peep this. No doc visits, no phone calls, nothing. I just answered a few questions online, and 3 days later, my script was at my door. They even shipped it for free, so I only ended up paying $7 for the whole thing.
And it's low-key in a plain package for your privacy.
In like 30 minutes of trying one, I knew this was that real generic Viagra.
His confidence is through the roof, and it worked even better than the name brand.
My wife ain't stopped smiling. This 100 milligram generic Viagra for 87 cents a pop is the deal of a lifetime. Go put a smile on your wife's face. Get yours right now before Friday plans run out.
I tried every type of ED medication, Viagra or sildenafil, and Cialis or tadalafil. I know this works for some people, but I did not get reliable results. 4 out of 10.
As I watched video after video, one thought kept coming back to me. Something appears to be going seriously wrong inside Jamaica's policing system. It's the middle of the day and a traffic stop has taken a dark turn. This footage appears to show a driver being attacked by officers. A man nearby attempts to film on his phone but is then slapped and struck with police batons. Cell phone footage like this has transformed the debate over police use of force. And the cameras haven't just captured confrontations between the police and the public. In one extraordinary incident, they captured a cabinet minister being pepper sprayed while responding to community protests over an alleged case of police brutality.
We can go out onto the street and we can do a straw poll and say, excuse me, are you more scared of the police or of the gangs? And I think that people would still say that they would prefer the protection of the police as opposed to they're being scared of the police. I think most people in this country still consider the police to be the protection that they should be against the criminals. I do not believe that it would be fair to say that people would say, well, actually, I'm more frightened of the police than I am of the criminals. No, I don't believe that at all.
Shane Samuel's family are still no closer to the truth. They allege the officers who shot him dead had their faces covered.
They mask up. Very much, me say them well mask up today.
And by right, a police see us not for mask up. My brothers are innocent youth. Innocent youth. You know, deal with violence.
Dr. Blake, the current commissioner, has made it clear that the wearing of face masks is prohibited except in exceptional circumstances, which has been authorised by a senior officer. I mean, we had that discussion once with him. Well, where's the written documentation where it's signed by a senior officer saying you can wear a face mask for that operation? And that's the sort of other governance that's required. But he was, and he is quite plain, the wearing of face masks for routine patrols, driving on the back of jeeps, which we see them doing with face masks, that's prohibited.
People who say they witnessed Shane's death maintain that he was unlawfully murdered. His case is still being investigated by the police watchdog.
Dead man tell no tears. They don't want him live, but tell the tears. What happened?
Love you, my son, sincerely from my heart. And I'm not giving up till I get justice. I'm not. That I have to say.
In many other fatal police shootings, like that of teenager Dante Carter, the story follows a familiar pattern. His family say he was shot and killed alongside his friend as they drove in a car. Police say a firearm was recovered at the scene, a claim the family disputes. But all too often, the only witnesses are the police and the dead. But could body-worn cameras really make a difference?
I've been expressing to the police, when I was there, why aren't we using body-worn cameras, particularly with pre-planned firearms operations? Why aren't they being used? That was 15 years ago.
Many throughout the country that the police deliberately don't wear body cameras in order to cover up what they do. That is what the people are saying to us. I didn't make that up. That is what is out there. And regrettably, the absence of the body-worn camera is furthering that suspicion.
I am not going to make any personal attack on the Commissioner because I do not believe that that is justified. I'm not going to make any direct comment on how he runs operations as the most senior officer within the organisation. Where I do agree is that the number of fatal shootings are too high, and I cannot see the justification for it, and I can see ways in which any commissioner could bring those numbers down.
We asked senior officials in the government to tell their side of the story. None agreed to be interviewed.
I am making it clear that the Jamaican state protects its people, and the Jamaican people need no other protector than the Jamaican state.
Since 2011, Indicom has charged 214 police officers with serious offences. But critics say charges alone does not deliver justice.
The perception can be that the police are getting away with it, and there will be some cases where we could all think that. But I wouldn't want to go down one way of saying, oh yes, it's so slanted against the public and for the police. Because, you know, when I retired, some 60 police officers were charged with murder awaiting trial. That's a phenomenal number. There's way more statistically than any other police forces that I did the research on. So the Jamaican judiciary and the DP police officers are charging police officers with murder and other serious offences and assault matters.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000. If you're looking to get money you're owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get that money.
In Jamaica, violent scenes like this are an everyday reality. When fear replaces trust, anyone can begin to feel like a target.
If you confront the police, then you'll be met with force, because there is a process towards that. But what I would have a concern about is if whole communities are fearing the police more than the criminals. And I stand by the fact I don't believe that, because even in some of the toughest communities in Jamaica, that is all that stands between the citizen, the legitimate citizen in those communities, and complete anarchy.
We cannot in this country sit by and do nothing while we watch our young men slaughtered. We do not support criminals. We're asking every gunman to put down their guns. Every last one of you, turn in the guns.
It's akin to, unfortunately, a kind of authoritarianism that we see emerging in Jamaica, where due process, like that in the judicial matters, being suppressed or circumvented, and the will and wish of those who have political power remain front and center, unabated and unimpeded by any due process.
I know people in Jamaica, Jamaicans obviously, whose own family friends have been killed by the police. That has created a culture of depression and woe for families. It's very difficult to break out of that. And that's the danger of these killings. That's why it's incumbent upon the state to address this, and the police on behalf of the state to address it, to be able to provide, you come back to transparency. If all those shootings, the 2,000 when I was here, were correct, then show us that. Put the body-worn cameras on and show. Because do you know that in a moment's notice, the wearing of body-worn cameras and the relaxation and the anti-resistance would allay the communities immediately, wouldn't they?
The stories featured in this film all began with an encounter. For some, it would be the last journey they would ever take. But for those left behind, the search for answers continues.
If you got hit, even if you were not driving, you need to try this.
Because if you